Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Live Ones. And so that was a day, wasn't it? I'm sitting here in my office waiting for the snow to stop so I can shovel, watching the Georgetown Butler game on Fox Sports, just so I can see how monumentally bad it is. It comes to halftime. They start the halftime coverage by saying, obviously, we are all watching this important Big East contest. It's not important. It's not even close. Neither of these teams are making the tournament. But they get this really somber tone to their voice, and they say, but there are some stories that are just bigger than sports. And my ears are perking up. I'm like, what? Did Russia invade Ukraine? Is it World War III? That's how they did the cold opening of the halftime show. It was that serious. As it turns out, Adam Schefter had broken the news that Tom Brady had decided to retire, and everything just stops. I flip over to the NFL Network, and they're running a 3-hour-long retrospective on his career that they just had ready to go for the last 8 or 9 years whenever he finally made the decision and just kept tacking more onto as he kept coming back year after year. But then about an hour later, everybody in Brady's camp and the Bucs camp comes out, including his own father, and says that he has made no such decision, to not believe anything until they hear it from him. So now there's all kinds of confusion. Is he retiring or isn't he? Right before I came on the air, Adam Schefter was on NFL Networks, again, standing by his sources, that the decision is a done deal. If you're an old communications pro and you know how to read the stitches on a fastball, so to speak, of media reports, you know two things are happening here. One, Tom Brady wants to control the timing of his announcement for his future business considerations. As we all know, he is super, super, super invested in this TB12 sports and lifestyle brand he's created. That's going to be the project that sustains him the rest of his life. He's not going away from the public eye anytime soon, folks. I'm sorry to break it to you if you're somebody who doesn't like Tom Brady. And so much of that was predicated on him being able to keep playing at a pro level until he was 45. That was the red line he drew. And his 45th birthday isn't until August. I'm sure he wanted his retirement to coincide with that birthday and have it be the official full-time launch of TB12, regardless of what it meant to the Bucs' future plans, which, wow, that would be an incredibly dick move. Perfectly on brand. Secondly, I think Adam Schefter has his sources in Gisele's camp, people close to her, and that she may have put her foot down and made the decision for him. It happens, guys. Tom Brady, he will always be remembered as a true Tampa Bay Buccaneer who embodied the spirit and vibrancy of Florida's Gulf Coast. Obviously, there are other places in America that can make a claim on him. I mean, the Bay Area where he was born, Michigan where he played so well in college, Santa Monica where he was married and lives. But for me, Tom Brady means Tampa Bay. I can't wait to see his plaque in Canton with the skull and swords. We absolutely killed it at college hoops yesterday, but the rest of our picks didn't fare so well. I am off of the Florida Panthers until they start playing up to form again. So it's an attrition Sunday. We're just trying to finish the week above 500, or failing that, at least keep the week to a minimal loss of a unit or two. We've got 2 big NFL Conference Championship games to go over, some college hoops, NBA, and NHL. Let's get right to it. And we're going to start with the AFC Championship game. It would be one thing to idly speculate that the Chiefs' atrocious defense would match up badly against Joe Burrow and the Bengals after having watched them play all season. But we don't have to idly speculate because we just saw these two teams play one another 4 weeks ago. Burrow passed for 446 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had his best game of a really, really great rookie year with 11 receptions for 266 yards and 3 of those 4 touchdowns. And the safety they had shadowing him while he was having that career day, Tyrann Mathieu, had a concussion last week and is listed as questionable for this game. The handful of times the Chiefs have played against a really good quarterback this season, they've been lit up. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen twice, Justin Herbert twice, mid-30s total for the other team every time. And I know people will say the Chiefs will, they held Dak Prescott to 9 points. I said a really good quarterback, not Dak Prescott. And you have the Bengals team total right now, given all that, sitting at 23.5. Even allowing for the fact that it's a conference championship game where things should be tighter, even allowing for the fact that the game's at Arrowhead with their loud electric crowds, there is just so much value on that team total, particularly as we saw last week. What little defense the Chiefs put out there on the field can't be sustained over the course of a full game. I don't know who's going to win this game, and I don't know by how much, but I do have faith that Burrow is going to be able to pick apart this sorry Chiefs defense. Give me the Bengals team total over 23.5. So moving on to the other championship game, and to understand this matchup between the Rams and the 49ers, we have to start with the regular season series. The 49ers came into the first meeting having lost 5 of their past 6 games, yet they crushed the Rams 31-10 as a 3.5-point underdog. The Niners led 21-7 at halftime and had the ball for 39 minutes as they converted 8 of 14 third down plays. In the second game, despite trailing 17-0 at one point, San Francisco still ran the ball 31 times for 135 yards. They just know what their strengths are, and they know how to stick with them. Running offense, controlling the clock, keeping the game tight, winning on defense in the margins. It's how they've done it all year. And if this game is anything true to form, the Rams just aren't going to get a whole lot of opportunities with the ball to rack up points. The Rams are great when things are going well for them, but when things don't go according to plan, when they get punched in the mouth, they really break down in a big way. In the first meeting of these two teams, we saw some of that vulnerability when the Rams started the game with back-to-back turnovers and went down 21-7 at halftime. In the second meeting, the Rams had 2 more turnovers, and who can forget their 4 turnovers in the divisional round that allowed the Buccaneers back into the game after trailing 27-3. This game will be won or lost at the margins, and I just trust the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan more on the margins than I do the Rams and Sean McVay. The best value in this game for me is the Rams team total. I do think the 49ers will keep it under 24.5 just by virtue of how well they're likely going to be able to control the clock and keep Stafford and the offense off the field. So yeah, give me the Rams team total under 24.5. Moving over to college basketball, we've got 2 plays today, and they're both in the Big Ten. First game that we're looking at is starting very soon, so you might have to live bet this depending on when you watch this video. Ohio State and Purdue. Ohio State has quietly crept its way back into the top 25, and its resume shows that it is definitely deserving of it. The Buckeyes have 3 victories over ranked opponents with an upset over top-ranked Duke as the highlight. Now they're going to have another opportunity to add to that list. Purdue's not going to be making it easy. They were stumbling for a little bit. They had a couple of upset losses. They lost to Rutgers, caused the public to kind of pump the brakes on the Boilermakers' outlook. But the Purdue's had a couple of good games in a row now. They've rebounded with 2 really dominant offensive performances after their loss to Indiana. I'm still not ready, though. I'm not ready to trust this Boilermakers defense against any above-average offense. This is a really big number to cover against any conference opponent, let alone one as good as Ohio State is. I'm taking the Buckeyes as the 9-point underdog in this spot. All right, so then speaking of Ohio State, let's talk about the team they just got through spanking. I'm noticing something different in both Minnesota's escaping by the skin of their teeth against Rutgers in their follow-up game where they got absolutely bullied by Ohio State's bigs. They're running a much slower offense than normal to deal with their depth problem. They've had a whole bunch of recent injuries. And while they're getting E.J. Stevens and Jamison Battle back today, they're probably going to be short Eric Curry and Will Ramberg. They're both out with injuries. So they're probably going to be doing that again, intentionally running a slow offense to conserve the energy of the talent they do have on the court and stretch out their ability to be competitive late. That's not a bad strategy at all against Wisconsin because they're suddenly uncharacteristically one of the most dynamic offenses in college hoops behind Johnny Davis and the Pips. This game should resemble a vintage Big Ten bar fight, a grueling low possession affair where points are at a premium. Take the under 135 today. I highly doubt either team gets more than the mid-60s on the scoreboard today. Over to the NBA, and a game happening this afternoon, the Mavericks and the Magic. You know, I could give you a big breakdown of all the various ways this game is a complete mismatch. I could talk about how the Magic are a historically bad team, even among the standards of teams that have tanked in the past. I could talk about how this is a matchup with one of the league's worst offenses versus one of its top defenses. I could talk about how these two teams met 2 weeks ago, and Dallas won by 18 while holding the Magic to 92 points. Simple thing is, it's the Mavericks against the Magic. And you're getting a price of -5 because Porzingis is out with an injury, and that's it. Pure and simple. Don't overthink this one, folks. Even without Porzingis, the Magic just aren't going to be able to get anything going against this tight defense, giving the Mavericks laying the 5 points any day of the week. Last but not least, the NHL. The Los Angeles Kings are entering the second half of a road back-to-back following yesterday's overtime loss to the Flyers. I feel like the Flyers finally winning a game was almost a bigger story than Tom Brady retiring. It's been a really, really long time. But we could see some tired legs from the Kings skaters. This is their 3rd road game in the last 4 days. A couple of them now have gone to overtime. As a whole, the Kings are playing with fire by giving up a lot of dangerous chances as they have the 3rd highest average expected goal value in 5-on-5. This is especially concerning considering the Penguins have one of the deepest forward groups in hockey right now. Los Angeles will be rolling with backup goaltender Cal Peterson since starter Jonathan Quick played in both overtime games on this road trip. All of this is a recipe for the Penguins, who are absolutely loaded with talent in a revenge spot and winners of 17 out of their last 21 games to absolutely go off on these guys. Take the puck line here at -1.5 goals. You can get it for +115 value. That's it for me, folks. Have yourselves a great Sunday. Bet safe, stay safe. Follow us on Twitter at Live One Sports. Check us out on Roku and Fire TV at The Live Ones. Have yourselves a great Sunday of sports. Enjoy the championship games, and I will see you tomorrow.